Hey guys, Dale here, back with another Odyssey preview. Preview number 3 dropped earlier today. I'm a little late checking it out as I was kind of like out and about running around. It is the holiday. Happy birthday, America, for those of you that are celebrating. Let's hop into it. This one is animals, training, and fishing. And so right away, we see a ship up here. This has some traps in it. It has like the armor stands. These don't appear to have any armor on them. We can see the vent here, maybe like the atmosphere for the ship. Much clearer than I think in any of the previous screenshots. We see a few new types of animals that have been hunted. Of course, some birds. I think we've seen some of these before. I know we've seen the quail. I'm not sure if I've seen the parrot. And here we have our little crow, raven. I think it's a crow. Crows usually have like a thinner beak. But you know, it's RimWorld art style, so who knows? Also have a little flamingo right there. And let's pop into this. I haven't actually read all of it yet. I've just kind of been browsing my phone as I've been like running around. Odyssey Preview number 3, Animals Training and Fishing, New Creatures, Their Trainables, and fishing up your next meal. Hello, we're only 1 week away from Odyssey release, that's right, next Friday. The new expansion launches on July 11th, 2025. Please wishlist it so you're notified when it's out. Today's blog post looks at creatures of Odyssey, over 40 new animals, additional ways to train pets, and quests built around legendary beasts. Plus, we'll talk about fishing as the new way to feed your colony. Odyssey adds over 40 new animals to the world, creatures you can tame, train to work, trade for silver, bring in caravans, or raise into a loyal pack of bodyguards. Let's look at a few of our favorites. Crows. Okay, so it's a crow. Crows, flamingos, herons, macaws, quails, birds that fly. Murders of manhunter crows may descend on your colony. Oh, that's not something I had thought about yet, but like if they can fly over your like defensive walls and they're infected with scaria, that does not sound fun. That sounds like putting turrets up around your base just to ensure that they have something else that they might be attracted to, some early defensive systems. We'll have to see how that works. Pink flamingos wade through warm waters. Colorful macaws flap through the jungle canopy. And chubby quails make a great snack for your colonist. Fun fact, our artist painstakingly drew 24 frames per flyer. That's nearly 400 unique frames of flying. That's wild. Okay, so 24... well, 400 divided by 24, like 16, 17 new flying animals. I assume they're all going to be birds, new flying birds, right? Let's take a look at the screenshots. The first one we can expand. We got, well, this is the top of the screen, right? We have the flamingo, we have a crow. I didn't see this one initially. There's a little crow flying down here. Actually, it might have been because it was covered up, right? Yeah, you can see like the tippy top of it. Got the quail, and then we have seals. They look like seals. I don't mix seals up with walruses, but seals and like sea lions, I can never remember really like what the difference is. Porcupines, cute and prickly, but try fighting one and your colonists will end up with a face full of quills. That is interesting. So a new kind of damage. They can scratch, they can hit with their quills. For me, I'm thinking like, is this a ranged attack? It's probably not a ranged attack. It's just they're like slamming the side of their body into you, right? That's cool. I don't see anything new here. Like this is mechanoid slag, but then we have some bigger pieces of mechanoid slag. I'm wondering if those might drop grav plates or something, right? Because this is a pretty big concentration. Actually, it looks like a centipede that's just been like torn to pieces, right? There's its face. Boghounds, these tough pups descend from domesticated dogs, but they've adapted to harsh, toxic conditions and are no longer accustomed to human company. They're scavengers that travel in packs, so attacking one means you're attacking them all. This feels very screenshot dense compared to the last few updates. I had to scroll up because I was like, did I miss reading over something? Some new little doggo friends eating a crow. There's a little crow eating a rat. These look like a cross between a warg and a dog. And they have like multiple models, right? So there's this one with the pointy ears up, and then these guys have some like more flappier ears. That's kind of interesting. I like that. And I feel like the ones with the flappy ears, they also have like a different kind of jowl. Maybe it is some sexual dimorphism, maybe like the difference between male and female there. Colossal toads, and bullfrogs. The first frogs in RimWorld, chunky, swamp-dwelling amphibians. Okay. Like new kinds of like rubble and ruins and stuff. But nothing, I don't think anything groundbreaking in that screenshot either. Here we have our little frogs and toads. Our little froggo boys are swimming. The colonist is also doing some recreational swimming. The toad is huge, or a frog, whichever one that is. I'm going to assume the green one's a frog, and then this purple one might be a toad, but it could be the other way around. I feel like frogs have like smooth, slimy skin, and toads are a little rougher and maybe like warty. And I can't really tell which one is which. But nothing super new here. A really nice close-up of the mushroom biome. Otters, walruses, sea turtles, sea lions, and seals. These aquatic friends are found along ocean coastlines. They tend to stick close to the water and not bother anyone, but hunters target them often due to their gentle, unsuspecting nature. That is sad, but also it's always nice to have like an easy meal source here. The turtles are swimming. We got I think this is the sea lion, and then this is a seal. So we got a sea lion here, we got a seal here. This looks a little different. It has like a little mustache. Are you the walrus? I think you're a walrus. Actually, you might be a sea lion also. Like these two might be the same. And then maybe this guy's the walrus and we just don't see his tusks from underwater. The sea turtles are adorable. Little guy fishing, his little fishing pole. Mastodons, scimitar cats, great wolves, prehistoric megafauna that roam the glacial plains. These massive beasts make excellent companions, but they also make excellent fur parkas. The kitty cat. I like the kitty cat and its little tail. Oh my gosh, that is adorable. We got our little wolfy boy here with his tail. He's very furry looking. I like that. And our mastodons. Glacial biome, but I think the flowers are new. We've seen them though, so nothing groundbreaking there. Lava snails, one of the few creatures adapted to the extreme heat of lava fields. They're big, slimy, slow-moving, and often farmed for food. Oh, interesting. I wonder, so this guy's like taming it, right? He's like feeding it to tame it or train it. Do we farm them to eat them, or do we farm them because they produce something that's delicious? Hippos, enormous semi-aquatic mammals that you do not want to mess with. Their powerful jaws can crush through armor and bones, so keep your distance. Oh no. He looks so menacing, just like swimming in the water. The new swimming is amazing. We ran into a pack of manhunting bears in the 1.6 playthrough, and we built on a river mountainous map. And we've been using the river as kind of like this great spot to kind of like funnel people into and take them outside of our base, outside of our kill box. We've been doing it with Thrombos, we've done it with some raiders. We tried it with the bears, and it worked out all right. Mostly because they had to like come around a corner, and so they were like trickling in one by one, but they were swimming, and so we didn't have the advantage of like a slowdown to help us with that. So that was a little terrifying. I like that there are bodies and tattered apparel in the river. This is very RimWorld player core, just using any body of water or marshy ground to deteriorate things quickly in order to get rid of them. We have the little peacock down here. And we have a little peahen. So that was something that I was curious about. I was wondering if the male peacocks would have their own texture and the female, and it looks like that's true. I think, it's that way with some other animals in RimWorld, so that might be what's going on with our little doggos up here, is like one of these with the pointy ears and the one with the flappy ears and the jowls. That could be the difference between like male and female on our doggos, the new doggos. You can just like barely see the peahen. Monkey. Hermit crabs, stone crabs, these little guys crawl across coastal beaches like on islands and archipelagos. They walk sideways too. Okay. I don't know what the difference is between... Okay, so the hermit crab, obviously. Looks like they have multiple models. That's adorable that, they have different shells, so they are unique. And then we got our stone crabs here. It looks like that one's being butchered. This guy's probably hunting that one with his club, and this one's just looking at us like he knows he's next. Over here, the fish. Those look like little swordfish or something. Wait, was there a bird? Is that a quail? It's lightly colored. So I don't know if they're like, I would assume that like a female quail would be like maybe muted colors. And the blue quail that we saw up top was a male, but that one was white. So maybe they're white. I have no idea what the color scheme on quails are IRL. Okay, so we have our Alpha Thrombo again. We didn't read it. Pursuing quests will lead you to rare creatures. Rumors speak of the legendary Alpha Thrombo, bigger, faster, stronger than any Thrombo. And you've received a tip. One has been spotted roaming the wilderness with its herd. If you're quick, you might be able to catch it. Will you attempt to tame and claim it as a majestic ally, or hunt it down and harvest its priceless horn? We've seen this screenshot before, so I'm not sure if we're going to notice anything new. We got our little penguins over here. They've been fishing, so that is something that's new, is that these animals might do some scavenging. Looks like this crew has probably brought these scimitar cats and great wolves with them to do the Thrombo hunt. And then we know that this Thrombo hunt is happening in a glacial biome of some sort, right? We have like ice out here, we have snow, and got little wolverines that we've seen before. Then there's the Hive Queen. Deep underground, insect hives can merge, creating a single bloated matriarch. She spews sludge and lays egg sacs, which hatch into writhing acid-spitting larvae. She's defended by her spawn, including the flying locust. Those that dare to venture into her lair can put her down or attempt to tame the beast. Okay. So we do know these guys fly, and we've seen multiple textures for them. Like this guy obviously has his wings out, this one too, so we know that they're flying. But we've seen them where this like little carpus right here has been flush against the body, and the little gossamer wings have not been showing. So she is that the sludge ball that she's spewing out, or is that just like an immature or less mature egg sac? And is this the sludge that she's spewing out? Okay, so we have more info on her. We got some insectoid walls here that we've seen before as well. And then Maybe if these are like newer eggs, this one is getting ready to hatch. New ways to train animals. Odyssey expands how animals can help you around your colony. Many creatures can be trained to do new tasks around the base. Your fluffy cat or panda can be trained to comfort colonists. They'll nuzzle more often and give a bigger mood bonus because really, that would make anyone feel better. I want a panda just hanging out, eating bamboo, and nuzzling my colonists now. Let's see. So this looks like a grav ship wreck. Dead body in there with the new gear. Pork chop. Oh, pork chop. Pork chop is famous for being in lots of RimWorld DLC screenshots, right? I think starting with biotech. So pork chop is back. Pork chop and her puppy. I can't remember if pork chop's a little girl or a little boy. Obviously a grown-up now. Has the doggo still. And then we don't know what may have happened here. Is this something she's come across? Is this her ship that's been wrecked? Was it mechanoids that assaulted it and forced it to crash land? Or were they here to investigate the mechanoids and then this happened? This is very interesting. Nothing new here. I got like an EMP launcher. We have the new mechanoid, right? The Uber Tesseron. This SMG looks a little different to me. So maybe this is one of the like boss weapons that you can get, right? There's like slightly modified versions of weapons that you can get from like boss NPCs. Pigs and raccoon can learn to forage, snuffling out treats like berries from the brush. I feel like raccoons should be able to find all kinds of garbage, not just berries. They should be like bringing you like lumps of jade and all kinds of stuff. I'm thinking maybe more of like crows. I think crows give people gifts, but I feel like raccoons, we call them trash pandas. Make the raccoons dig up just all kinds of junk, not just berries. Creatures with claws like the mega sloth and mega vole can be taught to dig. So new functionality for existing animals. Mega sloths can dig. They'll slowly chip away at spots you've marked for mining. Predators like wolves, bears, and big cats can be trained to attack specific targets. I'm very curious about that. Is that an interaction? You select the animal and tell it what to attack? Or is that a gizmo on the animal handler, right? So we have the button to release animals. Do we now have like a button that's like focus target? Like a whistle, and then it lets us select what target. So you can sick your tigers on the raider that tried to kidnap your wife. Okay. Well, Mr. Bishop here dropped Kaya, and I got miso, mochi, peach, and mittens after him. That is pretty good. Sniper rifle is like a slate blue, lavender gray type color. Got some like purplish, bluish lightness to it rather than it just being like a gray sniper rifle. There's an SMG. We can go back and compare to this one. Maybe it's just the rain that's making it look a little different. Dude, you are not, you're just wearing a duster. Training mastodons or elephants to use a war trumpet. So mastodons and elephants can learn war trumpet. A bellowing roar ability that disorients your foes, making them slow and clumsy. The Alpha Thrombo has a similar terror roar that causes enemies to break and flee in panic. That is cool. So mastodons in the glaciers or elephants in the jungle can be trained to use this ability. So we got some wolves, we got a scimitar cat, we have a ship. The roar is kind of like doing the distortion like psychic emanators or certain psycasts do. We have some of the grav plates here sitting on a shelf. Grav engine, the helm. Okay. If you're bold enough to tame the Hive Queen, so this lady, the Hive Queen can be tamed. That's interesting. If we can tame the Hive Queen, I would assume that we'd be able to tame insects. So does that mean that we can come across hives that are not hostile, or is there something that we can do to mask ourselves or make ourselves seem like not a threat? I'm very curious about that. So we can tame the Hive Queen. If you're bold enough to tame the Hive Queen, she can be trained to use her egg spew on command, launching acidic sludge and birthing offensive larvae. It's disgusting and incredible. Of course, not every creature is smart enough to be trained. For example, alligators' reptile brains are too simple. But with the sentience catalyst, you can inject ultra tech mechanites into any animal to increase its intelligence and trainability. Suddenly, your alligator can become a distinguished, loyal bodyguard. Okay. So we got Mikey here. There's that toggle that you can do, like, have animals follow you when you're doing work or whatever. And maybe that's what these guys are doing, hanging around Mikey. Mikey is holding something that I don't recall seeing before. It might have been earlier screenshots, but that must be the sentience catalyst. And this is a cute setup. It's like a little library and a research area. There's no floor under this table. It's just dirt under this table. We got little tables recessed in the walls with chairs recessed into the bookshelves. I like this. I might have to like steal this as an idea, not exactly this layout, but for a library for like a medieval colony or something. And we got heavy bridges here. So we have built bridges on the mud, and then we built stone walls on top of the bridges, and we have carpeted the bridges. This heavy bridge, like, it's right there as well. So can we build it over the dirt, or is there, I just not seeing that that's a mud tile maybe. That is super cool. I like this. I like this, especially with the mods that add like glass walls and windows and stuff. It would be cool to have kind of like a little research area sitting on a pier overlooking your crocodile pit. Fishing. Cast your line and catch your next meal from rivers, oceans, or gaps in frozen lakes. Fishing is a reliable way to feed your colony, available year-round even when your crops are frozen and wildlife is scarce. It's safer than hunting as long as the fish don't nip your colonists' fingers. Different waters have different fish. Reel in a big marlin and tuna from the ocean, freshwater salmon and bass from lakes, and piranhas from tropical rivers. Lucky fishermen may pull up unusual catches like treasure, drugs, bionic limbs, and other surprises. That's cool that we'll be able to potentially get some random, maybe helpful things or useful things to sell. Skilled fishermen are faster and catch more, but fish responsibly. Overfishing could empty your only lake, and if gill rot, a parasitic fungus, hits the water, your food supply could vanish overnight. Smart colonies have other food options as backup, like crops or pemmican or wild game. Okay, so there was a screenshot where you can kind of see like the shadows of fish, so that maybe that was like a way to tell what the fish supply was like. So I'm just kind of looking at the water to see. I don't see any. Let's take a look at this little fishing cabin. So we've got like a little cabin here. It's built on some bridging. This Doesn't necessarily look like heavy bridge, right? That's wooden bridge. This is wooden bridge. I think this is wooden bridge also. Which you can build wood walls on wooden bridge, so that makes sense. There's a little hole in here, so keeping this area warm and elevated, we can open up a hole in the ice, or I guess prevent it from freezing since it's probably a good temperature in here. So he's got some fish, he's got Fluffy, and he's got a different kind of fish sitting here on the shelf. He's also done some game hunting. Build a sleepy lakeside village with a shanty dock over the water and feed your colonists and pets fresh catches. Trade fish for supplies with casting caravans. Use it as a protein source to cook higher quality meals. You'll also occasionally see animals like penguins, otters, and grizzlies fishing for themselves when they get hungry. Penguins, otters, and grizzlies will fish. But fish aren't the only ones in the water. Colonists now swim for fun. They'll wade into jungle pools, marshy ponds, and hot springs to relax. Oh, okay, so we got hot springs. Some Odyssey animals swim too, each with unique visuals as they paddle around. Okay, so this is definitely a walrus. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 walruses here. We have some swans that are also swimming. Oh, there's a 5th walrus. He's just basking in the sun. He's a cool looking dude. And then we got Wool and Rebecca that are swimming for some recreation. Looks like a little workshop up here. Another statue of a colonist. We've seen that in some of the earlier previews. More colonist statues. And then we got some chem fuel stuff going on down there. And that's it. Thanks for reading. It's only one more week until Odyssey releases July 11th, 2025. In next week's final preview, we'll go over new quests, the Mech Hive endgame, and other miscellaneous bits of Odyssey. That is what I am most curious about, is the new endgame. So I'm looking forward to that one. I'm hoping that the next preview happens earlier in the week. We've gotten these like 2 late week ones. Odyssey comes out on Friday, so if we could get a preview on like Wednesday, I think that would be awesome. We're looking at the Odyssey teaser image right now, and so there are a lot of things in the teaser image that we've been able to confirm. We got the shuttles, we got crows. We haven't seen this particular gun yet, but we've gotten information about like unique weapons from bosses, right? So I'm curious if we will see this gun. We got the mushrooms from the mushroom biome. And then in his other little like sample jar, assume that was like some steel or silver, some gold, and then another mineral of some sort, the black mineral. That's the obsidian from kind of the volcanic biome. It's being held in a jar with other metals. So I'm wondering if obsidian in Odyssey will be metal rather than stony, or if it'll be some kind of hybrid that is both metal and stony. I'm curious. I'm very curious about that. We've seen the space platforms. We've seen the new EVA suits. He has a sidearm, right? He has a gun holstered on his right leg. His right, our left. So we haven't seen anything about sidearms. We don't know anything about the canisters behind that sidearm. We don't know if the pouch is significant. I think the compass is probably not significant. It's probably just to go with the theme of exploration. I guess asteroids, very important. We talked about the shuttles. We talked about the orbital platforms. Yeah, I think we've seen a lot from the previews that we got from this teaser. So if anything next week references things from this teaser image. Maybe the pouch, maybe the compass, maybe the sidearm, maybe those bigger canisters behind the sidearm. Like, what are those? Maybe the weapon. So I guess those will be things we'll have to see if we get any info about next week. But for now, as always, thanks for hanging out, and until next time, have a good one. Bye!